So these are my best case scenario mock drafts. If the Spurs were to select Jalen Duren at number 9, Bryce McGowan's at 20, Kendall Brown at 25, Dalen Terry at 38, I will be a happy camper. The Spurs will get extremely athletic and long through the draft. Jalen Duren at the center spot, Bryce McGowan's at your shooting guard, small forward spot. Kendall Brown, obviously just a freak athlete, and Dalen Terry, who's a small forward at 6'7" out of Arizona, who might just turn out to be like one of the better players in this draft. I think by like year 3, he just has all this raw potential. He was gonna go back to college, but then he ended up staying in the draft at the last moment. So definitely a lot of potential him for Dalen Terry. If he's there at 38, oof, it's a steal. The second best case scenario for the Spurs coming out of draft night is, for me, is taking Benedict Mathurin, Mark Williams, Nikola Jovic, and Alondas Williams at 38, right? So that little group right there of 4 players, I think you address your scoring and your shooting need and upside with the number 9 pick. You address your interior defense, even if you have Jakob Pertl back next season, which I'm not too sure at this point. I go back and forth all the time. Uh, but even if he is there, Williams at your backup center, now we're talking. Now we're talking about always having someone to protect the rim, right? Nikola Jovic is obviously that upside prospect, that Lucas Samanic, if you will, if he worked out. And Alondas Williams just gives you more depth at the point guard spot, which we know the Spurs love to have 3, 4, sometimes 4 point guards on the roster, maybe one up and down in the G League. So that might be Alondas Williams at 38. Makes sense. Now, my third mock draft, best case scenario, is Tari Eason. If we pick him at 9, I'm ecstatic. These 3 guys at number 9, they're real close together. But just for now, I'm gonna put him, at the 3rd spot because uh, I don't know, whatever. I still think Mathurin has more upside. Duran, obviously, a little bit younger at 18. So that's just kind of how it works out. But Tari Eason at number 9, Malachi Bronum at number 20, Blake Wesley at 25, Walker Kessler at 38 is something I think the Spurs would be extremely proud of doing after draft night. Tari Eason just being another dynamite piece that you can add and plug and play right away. Malachi Bronum, who has the potential to be an Eric Gordon type scorer, just like a bucket. You just know Eric Gordon is probably going to dice you up and just make it rain on you. Malachi Bronum kind of has that to his bag. Blake Wesley, how do I describe him? Kind of reminds me of a Jonathan Simmons when he was here. A lot of upside, a lot of talent, a lot of raw athleticism, a lot of aggression when he plays. And Walker Kessler, like we talked about in part 2, is a really good defender at the rim. Very smart big man out of Auburn. All right, so these are my top 3 ways. Like, I pray that the Spurs, if they do keep all these picks, if they do, and if we can come out like looking anything like this, man, dude, we're gonna be a lot better next season. The Spurs will be a lot better next season. All right, so these are kind of like my bottom, best case scenarios, but they're still not too bad. They're still all from my big board, so how bad can they be? Shaden Sharp, if he falls to us, I think that would be extremely interesting if the Spurs picked him up. One, because there seems to be a lot of inequalities, I think, when it comes to like what the Spurs look at and kind of what he's all about so far. But if he does end up coming to the Spurs at number 9, I mean, we might be talking about a new era if it works out. We might be talking about the Shaden Sharp era in San Antonio if it works out. Then, if they end up taking Terquavion Smith at 20, I'm happy with that. Jake LaRavia at 25 with Gabriel Procida at 38. That's something I can get behind. Again, if the Spurs, this is one of the cases where the Spurs took 2 guards at 1 and 2 at 9 and 20. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm telling you, go watch part 1 from this series, and we talk about who is on the roster. And really, if you look at best players available on that on a roster right now coming back, meaning letting go of Lonnie, letting go of Joe Wieskamp, letting go, trading away Josh Richardson and Romeo Langford, you really only have 4 guards. You only have 4 guards. So yes, you can draft 2 more, no problem, and get them minutes right away. The 5th mock draft: Johnny Davis, Usman Jang, Jalen Williams, and Christian Coloco. Last mock: Jeremy Sokan, Ty Washington at 20, Wendell Moore at 25, and Josh Minot Minot, it might be Minot, at 38. So if any of these play out the way that I hope, the Spurs can take home any of these, I wouldn't be too disappointed. But that's pretty much the whole mock and ranking scenario here. So we've done the whole process. We've talked about what's important and how the Spurs are drafting. Go check out part 1, part 2. In this series, we did a pick by pick big board for each player. And in this episode, thank you guys for watching us go over these mock drafts and things like that. It's a very interesting time for the Spurs. It'll be interesting to see if we end up keeping these 4 picks, or if we end up trading a couple of them to move up. I'm not on that boat that the Spurs should trade up. I don't think that they need to. I think there's quality talent at 20 and 25. At 20 and 25, you can address whatever needs you're looking for. I think even upside. There's guys like Terquavion Smith that have that upside, in that mix. Ty Washington, dudes like that, right? So you can also find size. You can also find shooting. You can find wings. You can find wings that can ball, man, like Jalen Williams, man. So I mean, there's you got guys who can score like Malachi Bronum, So I really do think that the middle of this draft is nothing to sneeze at. And yeah, maybe you have like a top 3, top 4 group, with Ivy and Smith and Jabari and Chet. But once you get outside of those guys, you start talking about like there's picks 6 through maybe 30 that are really good, 32, maybe even into the second round. You know what I mean? So uh interesting. It's going to be very interesting. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, check out more videos on the channel. Thank you for being a Spurs fan. You can follow me on Twitter at RTJ_Spurs2TV. And that's going to be it here. Don't forget to order some extra salsa. Adios. Go Spurs, go.